The convention with Pierre Poilievre up for a leadership review. Now, this will be the biggest test of his leadership yet, a vote on whether he should stay on. The Conservative Party leader will take the stage soon in front of thousands of delegates. CTV's Jordan Canigan reports from Calgary.
All those opposed? Canadian Conservatives are having their say on the future of the party after last year's election loss.
It was a success, but it wasn't a win. Still, you know, when you go behind that curtain, it's still your private franchise, and you decide as you will at that time.
Policy proposal talks are happening in private before the most popular items hit the floor. Friday, a day of voting, set to be capped off by the most important vote of all, whether Pierre Poilievre is still the right person to lead.
And people are going to be watching for the possibility that some people who are dissatisfied with his leadership either leave the party, some of his caucus maybe just sit as independents in the House of Commons, or perhaps even cross the floor.
Before the vote, the Conservative leader will take the stage and make his pitch to stay on, while also talking about key issues for the party.
Affordable food, groceries, rent, but also making sure that there's real action, not just words, on issues that maintain Canada's sovereignty, like when is the shovel going to get in the ground on pipelines?
Those frustrations leading to growing separatist sentiment in Alberta. Some Conservative delegates want to hear the party leader address the issue head on.
I would love for Mr. Poilievre to talk a little bit about the succession and bring down the temperature and focus on ideas rather than the rhetoric. And I think he's done well so far. But I would, I'm hoping Mr. Poilievre can just focus on solving problems.
Jordan Canigan, CTV News, Calgary.
This is an urgent appeal from Save the Children.
I saw war, bombing, shooting. I'm worried for my future.
Чую вибухи. Не знаю, і не ходжу в школу.
Conflict is raging across the world, and millions of children's lives are being devastated by war, hunger, disease, and poverty. We urgently need your help to reach children in crisis. Please call or go online to givetosave.ca and give just $10 a month, only 33 cents a day. We need 1,000 new monthly donors this month to help children in crisis around the world. You can help us provide life-saving food, essentials, and medical care to children in the most need.
ما نحسن ننام طاول من كتر القصف هيك حياتنا الله يصطبر فيهم بس.
In the darkest times, children suffer the most. You can help by calling right now and giving just $10 a month. All we need are 1,000 monthly donors. Please call or go online now with your monthly gift of just $10. And when you call with your credit card, we will send you this Save the Children tote bag as a thank you for your support.
وقتی قدم جامدهات ما کلک قصفه دیتن ما ملکتن ما دنگی فیشنگان دیستن ما مالی خالو بیکر مالی خمو هم داگرین.
Your small monthly donation of just $10 could be the reason a child in crisis survives. Show them they're not alone. Please call or go online to givetosave.ca to help save lives.
Guys, every year, your body loses more testosterone. Ageless Male has been proven to support testosterone levels in men, and it supports energy too. Get Ageless Male and be the man you want to be.
Mom, we're coloring our hair. Garnier Good has 90% natural ingredients and no ammonia.
Smells so good. And it's easy to apply. My hair's so soft and shiny.
Looking good, Mom.
Walk me through what you remember.
The largest undefended border on the planet has some drawbacks. Drugs. A whole lot of drugs.
Your story is all I have. You owe me.
Did you catch the bad guys?
I always catch the bad guys.
The Borderline, new series. Special preview February 8th on CTV and stream on Crave.
There's no turning back.
You must decide what you want.
And so it begins.
How good a knight are you? I've trained my entire life for this. Cock-a-doodle-doo.
Who'd you make this for?
I wouldn't have lived this long if I discussed my clients.
You may not live long if you don't.
We do the job, we don't ask questions.
Hi, Dad.
I'm gonna cook and then I have to go.
What?
My mind, it hasn't been right. I'm a confusing time. No one can know. My secret.
Memory of a Killer. All new Monday on CTV. Stream next day on Crave.
This is the ED. It's not for the faint of heart.
Charged. Clear. We all need help from time to time. Even occasional miracle. Is this a drill?
Westbridge Hospital has shut down all the computer systems.
We're about to go analog.
Welcome back. Here's a live look at Calgary as the city is hosting this year's Conservative Party convention with Pierre Poilievre up for a leadership review. This is an inside shot of the convention where we're expecting to hear from the Conservative leader in just a few moments as people are beginning to go inside that building. Now, Pierre Poilievre will deliver one of the most significant speeches of his political career. As you can see, a lot of delegates and the media are waiting outside. They're expected to go into the hall in just a few moments from now. We were saying this is the most significant speech, post which there will be a leadership vote for Pierre Poilievre, which he is widely expected to win tonight. But this moment has come for the Conservatives almost after 2 decades, when a leader has lost the election and he has decided to stay on, and now they have a leadership review. There are lots of expectations tonight on what exactly Pierre Poilievre is expected to say about the path forward for the party, their agenda, and whether or not he addresses the issue of unity when it comes to separatism sentiment in the province of Alberta. In just a few moments, like we said, we'll have more as soon as the doors open and people are allowed to go in. And CTV's chief political correspondent, Vassy Kapelos, will have a special edition of Power Play as Pierre Poilievre addresses delegates at that convention. Meantime, CTV's Jeremy Sharon is also in Calgary, and he spoke with a Conservative MP just moments ago. Here's Jeremy.
Joined now by Conservative MP Jamil Jivani. Jamil, thanks for taking the time, first of all. Pierre Poilievre expected to address the crowd here soon. What do you expect to hear? What do you want to hear? What do you think he needs to say to this crowd today?
Well, I've spent the last 3 months visiting university and college campuses, so I'm really looking forward to a message that's going to resonate with young people across this country, a message of hope that shows that the Conservative Party has a plan for a bright future for young Canadians.
There's been a lot of talk leading into this about numbers. Yeah. Do you think there's a threshold that he needs to meet to be able to just, charge ahead with the support of the vote, of the members?
Yeah, I don't know if there's a specific number. I think a strong majority is, what people are expecting, what people hope to see. Just to reinforce that the Conservative Party's in the right direction and growing our coalition, bringing in more working class Canadians, bringing in more young people. I think a strong majority in this leadership review is going to send that message.
You just mentioned you've been going across the country speaking to students on campuses. Do you have any leadership ambitions in the future?
I just want to see our country get on the right track. I am very concerned about the direction we're in. I think we're often distracted by things that are happening outside of our borders. I want to start solving more problems at home. That's what I want to see happen in Ottawa. And when we go back there on Monday, I look forward to seeing more action in that direction.
You just talked about outside of our borders things happening. Yeah. I know you have a relationship with J.D. Vance, U.S. Vice President. Have you talked to him at all about the current situation, the relationship between the two countries right now?
I haven't talked to him in about about a year about those issues. I have been reaching out to the Prime Minister, though, asking him if we could have a conversation about what he wants to see from the United States. What does he think is going to help us move in a better direction, so that I can give the Vice President a call and relay what I think the Prime Minister wants the position of the Government of Canada to be. I have not heard back from the Prime Minister on that. I will continue sending him emails and asking for him to meet with me, because I would like to use that relationship for the good of the country, but I also don't want to interfere in what the Prime Minister is doing, so I await his signal for action.
So request has not been delivered, but sounds like you'd be willing to entertain playing some kind of role and having a conversation with your friend about what's going on?
Absolutely. This is not a partisan issue. We are at a partisan convention right now, but I can tell you U.S. relations, a good trade deal that helps our industries, including where I'm from, the auto industry. This is not a partisan issue. Conservatives and Liberals should be able to work together on this easily. I hope the Prime Minister agrees with me, and I look forward to hearing from him.
Okay, Jamil, thanks so much for the time. Conservative MP Jamil Jivani, back to you.
All right, here's a live look one more time outside the convention, which is supposed to start any moment now. We are waiting for Pierre Poilievre, the Conservative leader, to come up on stage and deliver that much-anticipated address tonight to his party faithful who have all gathered today here in Calgary. And that will really set the tone for the Conservative Party heading into the next election, whether it's this year or the next, because, of course, Liberals continue to be in a minority government as well. It is also meant to sort of set the tone for the leadership review vote. That vote is going to come as soon as Pierre Poilievre finishes his speech tonight. Now, we understand delegates are widely expected to vote in favor of Pierre Poilievre, and he's expected to remain the leader of the party, taking them into the next election. Conservatives, as we know, have kicked off this national convention of theirs in Calgary, and the focus is really about the future of the party and unity within Canada as well as within the party at a time when we have seen a few defections from the Conservatives to the Liberal Party. We're keeping a close eye, and as soon as we have more from that convention, we will bring you that live. For the moment, we'll take a short break. We'll be right back.
Life is made up of big, little moments. Some gentle, some messy, and some complicated. With Canada Protection Plan, you get peace of mind to focus on what really matters. Life's big, little moments. Whether you're 18 or 80, are healthy, have health issues, or are hard to insure, you can apply for no medical life insurance in as little as 15 minutes. That means no health exams or blood tests needed. Get life insurance coverage with affordable rates that won't increase over your initial term. And when coverage begins, you become a Foresters Financial member. You'll get access to rewarding member benefits so you can enjoy life and make more big, little moments. Ask your advisor or call our friendly team now for a no-obligation quote. Canada Protection Plan from Foresters Financial, protecting Canadian families for over 150 years.
No matter what kind of teeth you gotta brush, Oral-B Electric cleans better with one simple touch. Oral-B's dentist-inspired round brush head hugs them, cleans them, and gets in between them for 100% cleaner teeth. Your perfect clean routine starts with Oral-B.
I used to struggle with dandruff, but now I use Head & Shoulders every wash because the active ingredient in Head & Shoulders helps control dandruff.
Where do you think you're going?
See? No flakes down here.
Make every wash count.
Joint pain from osteoarthritis shouldn't slow you down. Try Genicol Anti-Inflammatory, a natural health product that helps relieve joint pain. Genicol Anti-Inflammatory stands out with turmeric curcumin, bioperine, and amino-lock collagen created with patented technology. Turmeric is traditionally used in herbal medicine as an anti-inflammatory to help relieve joint pain. Try it and feel the difference.
Genicol makes me feel so good.
Are you ready to get tucked in like never before?
Turn yourself into a duvet burrito with up to 30% off pillows, sheets, duvets, and more at Sleep Country's Sleep Cozy event.
Even the prices are comfy. Imagine meeting a pro, and suddenly, reviews appear.
Craig did a great job.
Pros are checked. And you can choose who to connect with. Homestars, the reliable way to hire a pro.
Nasal congestion is tough.
Try HydroSense for fast-acting relief at the site of nasal congestion with 100% naturally sourced seawater. HydroSense. Breathe better with our Science of the Sea.
When you hear it, you'll know it's Miss Vicky's.
There have always been two kinds of people in the world. Those who worried about their investments. And those who chose some peace of mind. Smart investors hold gold.
We're not all saving for the same thing because we're not all into the same things.
But earning high interest on every dollar every day
is getting us to our thing a little faster.
Yes.
No.
Hey, you. Yes, you. The Brick's rolling out the red carpet, and you're invited. Get VIP access to exclusive 4-day offers. Up to 30% off sofas, sectionals, recliners, dining and bedroom furniture. Up to 40% off select mattresses. Plus, receive a 5% credit towards sleep accessories. Buy any TV 65 inches or bigger and get a $50 credit towards a soundbar or wall mount. And buy more, save more. Up to $1,000 off select major appliances. The Brick is saving you more.
1877 Cars for Kids. KARS Cars for Kids. 1877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today. Donate online at carsforkids.ca. That's cars with a K. Pickup is quick and easy. You will benefit a child and get a maximum tax credit. 1877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
25 years ago, we had an idea. What if the future of driving was electrified? And what if we led the charge towards that future? Today, that idea has grown into a diversified lineup of electrified vehicles. Believing in your own path. It matters to you. It matters to us.
Half protection is not enough. Using just an antivirus online is also not enough. Get better protection from online threats. Get NordVPN now.
Still searching for the one? Olay Super Cream with SPF. The power of 5 in one super cream. To hydrate smooth, brighten firm, and protect. Skin just drinks it in to boost cells for more resilient skin. It's Super Cream. Only Olay.
Oh, for pain I can't ignore, I found Salon Paws Roll-On and Cream to be effective. 2 unscented pain fighters start to work on contact, numbing my pain away. Salon Paws, it's good medicine.
Swiss Chalet's 2 can dine for $19.99 is here. Enjoy 2 quarter chicken dinners with 2 sides, 2 buns, and 2 chalet sauces. That's right, for only $19.99. For 3 weeks only, 2 can dine. Hurry in to Swiss Chalet.
Wouldn't life be great if you didn't have to wait to upsize for your dream retirement? Invest with Fidelity, and reaching your goals may just take less time than you think.
He's got the ball with the game on the line. He's at the 30, and he trips!
You see that? That's me. I'm a random.
She's definitely off her pace today.
I'm the twist, the chaos,
The 3 is up.
the big script flipper. I make sure anything that could happen will happen.
Oh, and he's taken his eye off the ball.
So before you bet more than you can afford to lose, remember, random is always in play.
Welcome back to CTV News Channel. We'll show you a live look at the Conservative convention that's taking place in Calgary tonight. At the moment, we understand that delegates and media people are held outside the room. The main room has not opened just as yet. In a few moments, that room should open. And of course, the delegates as well as the media will be inside. And everybody is waiting for Conservative leader Pierre Poilievre to come out on the stage and give his speech tonight. This will be one of his most significant speeches tonight of his political career, because after that speech, his leadership will be put to a vote today. Now, we understand, as we've been speaking to so many Conservatives all of the last few days, he is expected to win with a very good wide margin tonight, the magic number being above about 80% or so. There are over 2,000 delegates there, and as you can see, this is a live shot we are bringing to you. The doors have just opened right now, and the delegates as well as the media are now walking inside that hall where Pierre Poilievre is expected to give that much anticipated speech tonight. The number is roughly about 2,000, 2,500 delegates. It could be a little more. We'll, of course, try and confirm that number for you tonight. But as we were saying, this is a very crucial vote for Pierre Poilievre, and this will sort of set the tone on where Pierre Poilievre wants to take the Conservative Party forward after they lost the last general election. Pierre Poilievre himself lost his riding, of course, and came back with the riding in Alberta a few months later. We have also seen how there have been defections from the Conservative Party to the Liberal Party. So all eyes really on the message that Pierre Poilievre is expected to have tonight for the party, for the delegates, on the path forward at a time when we need to hear about unity within the Conservatives as well as in the country, because it's important to note that this is happening in Calgary, and we've been hearing about the separatist sentiment so strongly in the past few days. Every single premier who was in Ottawa with the Prime Minister, almost each of them had something to say about that separatist movement, and all eyes really what Pierre Poilievre has to say, because he's not just speaking to the people in Calgary, in Alberta tonight, but his message has to truly reach out to Canadians coast to coast to coast if they are aiming at the next election. Now, when will that election be? Could it be end of this year or next year? We do not know, of course, but we know that the Liberals are in a minority government still, and the Conservatives there have to chalk out a path on their political path forward. Now, we also know that our team of CTV with Vassy Kapelos is at the convention there tonight. They will be having a special coverage, and we will be taking you there live with Vassy, as well as our special panels who will be taking you through the course of the rest of the evening. We'll go back to the live convention in just a few moments, but for now, we have some other breaking news that we are tracking at this hour. We're just learning a Canadian soldier has died in Latvia. Gunner Sebastian Halmigin was deployed on Operation Reassurance in Latvia. He died on Thursday. The Hamilton native was on his first overseas deployment and had been with the military for nearly 3 years. The military says there's an investigation into the circumstances of his death, but officials say at this time there is no indication this incident poses an increased threat to the safety and security of Canadian deployed members. To some other developments we are tracking today. She made us all laugh for decades. Canadian comedy legend Catherine O'Hara died today in Los Angeles after a brief illness at age 71.
Oh, go ahead, enjoy the love you have. As long as I'm here to entertain you.
O'Hara got her start in Toronto on the comedy series SCTV, where she entertained viewers with her original characters and celebrity impressions. She won an Emmy in 1982 for her writing on SCTV Network.
It's a little private joke that Lydia and I share. It's not a joke. Yes, it is. Just today she tried to convince me that this house is haunted. Kids! You know I love them.
O'Hara collaborated with filmmaker Tim Burton for her roles in Beetlejuice and The Nightmare Before Christmas. It was on the set of Beetlejuice where she met her husband, Beau Welch, with whom she had 2 sons.
When it's time to lay down your weary head, you'll find comfort and safety at the partially renovated Rosebud Motel. And don't forget to say hello to your handsome proprietor, Mr. Jonathan Rose.
And then she played the iconic role, Moira Rose, in the hit TV series Schitt's Creek. She won an Emmy Award for Outstanding Lead Actress in a Comedy Series and the Golden Globe Award for Best Actress in a Television Series. She also received numerous Canadian Screen Awards for the role.
What else could we be forgetting?
But Moira might be best known as Kate McAllister, the mum to Macaulay Culkin's Kevin in the 1990s hit Home Alone, now a Christmas classic. And on Instagram, Home Alone co-star Macaulay Culkin says, "I thought we had time. I wanted more. I wanted to sit in a chair next to you. I heard you, but I had so much more to say. I love you. I'll see you later." In a statement to CTV News, Canadian comedian Mike Myers writes, "It is a very sad day for comedy and for Canada. She was one of the greatest comedy artists in history, an inspiration for millions, and above all, a very elegant lady. Sending much love and condolences to her family." And then Prime Minister Mark Carney also posted saying, "Over 5 decades of work, Catherine earned her place in the canon of Canadian comedy, from the iconic Toronto production of Godspell to the SCTV to Schitt's Creek. Canada has lost a legend. My thoughts are with her family, friends, and all those who loved her work on screen. She will be dearly missed." Turning to some other news that we are tracking this evening, to the trade war with the United States. Bombardier shares took a nosedive today following the latest tariff threat from U.S. President Donald Trump. Trump is targeting the Quebec-based company as an apparent response to the certification of an American jet in Canada. CTV's Michael Couture is tracking that story for us and brings us reaction from Ottawa.
Bombardier's Global 8000 is billed as the world's fastest civil aircraft since the Concorde. But it could be grounded in the U.S. as President Donald Trump targets the Quebec company as apparent retribution over the certification of an American jet in Canada. On Truth Social, Trump wrote the U.S. was decertifying their Bombardier Global Expresses and all aircraft made in Canada until such time as Gulfstream, a great American company, is fully certified. Gulfstream is a direct competitor of Bombardier, and industry experts point out there are reasons Canada has been holding off.
The U.S. has certified the Gulfstream 700 and the 800 with exemptions to look at that aircraft not being certified for very cold weather operations because of fuel line problems.
In response to the threat of decertifying Canadian aircraft, Bombardier said in a statement, thousands of private and civilian jets built in Canada fly in the U.S. every day. We hope this is quickly resolved to avoid a significant impact to air traffic and the flying public. But it remains unclear if the U.S. president even has the authority to decertify aircraft.
The only way that the type certificate can be revoked is if there is a safety issue with the aircraft.
Now, this is just the latest salvo in the ongoing trade war, which has seen Trump ramp up his rhetoric against Canada following the Prime Minister's visit to China.
You can't look at China as the answer.
In a statement about the threat, Minister Steve McKinnon said Transport Canada officials are in communication with their U.S. counterparts, and the Canadian government is actively working on this situation. Michael Couture, CTV News, Ottawa.
And the impact of Donald Trump's trade war hitting another major industry in our country. For the final time this morning, night shift workers at Oshawa's General Motors left the plant. The third shift has been eliminated as of today, but the fallout from the move could continue for some time. CTV's Queen's Park Bureau Chief Siobhan Morris has more.
In the dark of early morning, the night shift at Oshawa's General Motors plant heads home for the last time. 500 people out of work as their jobs shift to the U.S.
Members are scared. The morale's terrible in the plant right now. You know, they're worried about how they're going to pay their bills, provide for their families.
Unifor says with the elimination of the third shift, another 500 related jobs have been slashed.
We have a plan.
The Premier promised yesterday
we're going to make sure that they have opportunities in the defense sector, life science sector.
People don't want to be retrained. They want to make good money in the auto industry right now.
Speaking with other workers in London, Ontario's NDP leader calls the loss of the third shift in Oshawa devastating. and frustrating too.
Some of this, we've seen this coming, and I'm concerned that the government has not acted with the urgency that it requires.
Calling for a different approach to keep auto workers on the assembly line.
But we can't expect manufacturers to produce in this country when we have a completely uncompetitive environment.
From Oshawa, a plea to find a path forward with a neighbor.
We need a trade deal with the United States of America, not China, not Korea.
Not encouraged by the possibility of foreign-owned automakers opening plants in Ontario.
It's not thousands of people. They come in crates, they come in boxes, and people just plug things in.
A new auto strategy is coming in a matter of weeks. The Premier says it must include backing off the EV mandate that so far has only been paused. Siobhan Morris, CTV News.
And it was a bad day on the markets as major stock indexes in both Canada and the United States ended the day in the red. The drop coming in part over fears that the Federal Reserve will lose its independence after U.S. President Donald Trump said he's chosen Kevin Walsh to replace Jerome Powell as Fed chair. Take a look at this. The TSX tumbled almost 1,100 points, down more than 3%. The Dow Jones was down 179 points. The S&P 500 fell 29 points. And the Nasdaq dropped 223. The U.S. Department of Justice released millions of documents from its files on convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein today. The move comes after months of public and potential pressure. CTV's Washington Bureau Chief Joy Melvin with what we're learning from these documents.
This is it. The Justice Department says it's completed its review of the Jeffrey Epstein files, most of it heavily redacted, 3 million pages and thousands of videos and images.
Victims of Mr. Epstein have gone through unspeakable pain. Hopefully is able to bring closure.
Todd Blanche, the Deputy Attorney General, insists anything identifying victims, child sexual abuse, violence, pornography, or death was withheld. The faces of victims blurred. Other than Ghislaine Maxwell, Epstein's convicted accomplice, her never-before-seen mugshot in a prison orange outfit. Maxwell's home address listed on Epstein's infamous island where abuse took place, and Maxwell's U.S. naturalization certificate. Earlier unsealings identified several high-profile figures like Bill Clinton, the former Prince Andrew, and celebrities. But that doesn't imply criminal conduct. Blanche bristled when asked if the president, who had a friendship with Epstein, was being protected.
We did not protect President Trump. We didn't protect or not protect anybody. I mean, I think that there's a hunger or a thirst for information that I do not think will be satisfied by the review of these documents.
And frustration from some of the survivors pushing for evidence and criminal prosecutions.
You know what? Give me a break. You're not going to gaslight me into believing that this administration has prioritized the survivors or have cared about the survivors.
Also in the files, the Canadian consulate rejected Jeffrey Epstein's request for temporary residence to attend a TED conference in Vancouver in 2018. He was denied because he'd been convicted of sex trafficking minors. Joy Melvin, CTV News, Washington.
All right, let's take you now to Calgary, where CTV's chief political correspondent Vassy Kapelos is standing by. Vassy, over to you.
Hi, Akshay. Thanks so much, and a warm welcome to all our viewers across the country. I'm coming to you live from Calgary this evening for the Conservative Convention. We're not too long away from a speech from the leader of the party, Pierre Poilievre. It'll be delivered in this room. You're going to watch the whole thing live right here on CTV. And then, of course, Mr. Poilievre will face a leadership vote. We'll have comprehensive coverage of all of that. Right now, though, in advance of the speech, I'm very lucky to be joined on stage by the Conservatives campaign manager, Steve Outhouse. Mr. Outhouse, it's a pleasure to welcome you to the program.
Thanks for having me, Vassy.
I appreciate making the time. What should we expect from Mr. Poilievre tonight?
Yeah, well, I think tonight's going to be a time to connect with the members, to connect with the delegates that are here, talk about the path forward a little bit, reflect on the past, and talk about our agenda. Hope, change, and affordability. We're going to hear some of those, classic lines, but we're going to be bridging forward to the future as well.
So, on that note, how would this speech, for example, tonight differ from one that Mr. Poilievre may have delivered a year ago?
Well, I mean, obviously we have the election behind us. A year ago it was a different time and there was a different lay of the land at that point in time. So Mr. Poilievre tonight is seeking strong mandate from the members and the delegates that are here, so we can just move ahead, move forward, and start focusing on the election whenever it may be next.
I have a question for you about that. But as far as the sort of audience for the speech, I mentioned obviously all the networks are going to be carrying it tonight. Obviously, he's also facing a vote right after that speech. How much of this is geared toward the people in the room versus, you know, everybody who might be tuning in across the country?
Yeah, I think it's a little bit of a both and, really, because, I mean, we know people are going to be parsing the speech, looking at it, and kind of taking from it whatever they wish. He'll be talking to the membership, who are going to be making up their minds and getting in there and making their vote this evening. And part of that is, you know, we're looking at the path forward, and people are going to be voting on, like, let's move forward and let's go. So people on, I would say, outside of the membership that are there, like, that's part of the equation that they're looking at is, you know, is there a chance and can we be a strong alternative to the Liberals in the next election? So that's what we'll be laying out.
If you were to articulate from your vantage point what the path forward does look like for your party, what is it?
Well, you want me to start to outlay the strategy right here?
I do, yeah.
Okay,
you can
perfect.
debut it
Here we
right
go.
here, yeah.
I've got to hit some charts and so on. So, I mean, at its core, winning an election is getting those 173 seats. There are issues that are of importance to people of different age cohorts. We're going to be looking at communicating with different audiences in a way that matters to them and speaking to the issues that are first and foremost in their minds. So there's an element of persuasion. Obviously, there's a gap between us and where the Liberals ended up in the last election. We need to close that gap, plain and simple. And so we're going to be talking about issues that matter to people, holding the government to account. But there is that, you know, the air war, the ground game, and all those elements that are there of, you know, at its core, identifying the people who are on board with our message, changing the message and evolving the message to reach out to more people and bring them into our coalition, and then making the pitch for the vote.
I don't think there's any Canadian out there who doesn't think Mr. Poilievre is a very good opposition leader. I think there'd be very little debate on that. How do you convince more Canadians that he would be a good prime minister?
Yeah, well, I think one of the things that people are looking for now is to kind of see more facets of Mr. Poilievre's personality, and that's fine because I believe, you know, I believe he would be a good prime minister. Obviously, I wouldn't be working on the campaign if I didn't think that he would be. And he's got the intelligence, he's got the dedication, he's got the drive, he is ready to fight for Canadians. So if there are those who want to see more, you know, different aspects and different facets of the leader's personality, we're going to be happy to show that and showcase that, you know, moving ahead. You know, I think he's someone with a lot of humor. He is someone who understands people. When he gets into, you know, interactions with people, that's, I think, a very powerful thing. So we will be looking to showcase that.
You didn't manage the last campaign. You're brought in to manage this next one. How does, in your view, like running against Mark Carney differ from running against Justin Trudeau? And do you believe enough of a distinguishment was made during the last campaign? Like, would you make more of one?
Well, I'm not here to litigate the last campaign because, you know, as you said, I wasn't working on that one in a direct role of the campaign. So looking forward, I mean, certainly, yes, Mark Carney is a different political opponent than Justin Trudeau was. And, you know, he stepped into a moment and, you know, had that sort of central banker, you know, air about him that people responded to in the situation that's there. So we have the challenge. People are very happy to, you know, jump on the challenges we have where perhaps he fits into that, you know, more banker air. And we, you know, people make their judgments on that for us. But the cost of living issues that are still so important, I think Mr. Carney and his government now have been in power 11 years.
Months.
Well, I guess we can debate that.
So sorry.
They're both together. They're both together. Yes, the new government, and I do think, I mean, if we're getting into timing in that, I think that's one of the reasons it would be appealing for Mr. Carney to call the election sooner rather than later, is because there has not been a lot accomplished in the last 11 months, and I think that he would like to go back out there and try to use that trump card, as it were, to try to, you know, get his next mandate.
And you know, to be fair, and I do take the point on that, you know, it's maybe not the only reason he'd want to go. The other one is because of his own personal popularity, particularly relative to Mr. Poilievre's. Not the party necessarily, who remain in most public opinion polls within the margin of error, the two parties, but his own personal popularity. How do you account for that?
Yeah, well, look, the leader, you know, our leader Poilievre, you know, complimented Mr. Carney on his speech in Davos recently. So yeah, there's been a little bump there, but can he sustain that, and where do we go from here? And that's the thing is that, you know, in politics, a week is a lifetime, and we're just going to continue to get out there and talk about the issues that matter to Canadians. And so, you know, sorry, I think I've lost track of where you're going.
Okay. I'm going to ask a more pointed follow-up.
You do it.
Do you anticipate that there will be an election this year, and when do you think it will be?
So I believe so. I don't think it's necessary. I mean, the Prime Minister has his mandate that he's just, you know, got less than a year ago, as you pointed out. And we have pledged our cooperation in the House to move things forward, to move from rhetoric to results, as the leader has said. But I think with all the things that you've laid out and the appeal of that and the sheer politics behind it, I think it'll be very difficult for the Prime Minister and his advisors to pass up that occasion. So we just need to be ready.
Do you think it might happen before the summer?
I think it's totally possible.
Okay, Mr. Outhouse, I'll leave it there. Appreciate your time very much. Thank you. Steve Outhouse is the Conservatives campaign manager. If you're just joining us now, welcome to special coverage of the Conservative Convention from Calgary. Pierre Poilievre, the leader of the party tonight, will address on that stage behind me delegates who are filling up the room currently, and then they will go and vote on his leadership. My colleague Jeremy Charron has been and is working the room, I believe, might even have a guest with him. Can I bring Jeremy in right now? Over to you, Jeremy.
Hey, Vassy. Yeah, joined now by Ben Woodfin, former communications director to Pierre Poilievre. Ben, you've been part of things like this in the past. Your former boss about to take the stage. What do you expect to hear from him tonight? Is there anything you're looking for? Is there a tone he should be trying to achieve?
Look, I think this is a big speech. This is going to be a national primetime speech almost, right? He's going to get a lot of people watching it, not just in this room, but outside of this room. So, look, I think he's going to do a couple things. One, right after this, he's got his leadership vote. So he's firing up this crowd, making sure he gets a good number, but also it's going to be televised with prime time. You guys are probably carrying it, so he's speaking to the whole country, right? And so I think he's got to give the audience in this room something, but I also think he's speaking to a broader audience. So I think you're going to see what I want to see from him, what I'm expecting to see from him. I want to see Prime Minister Pierre Poilievre. I want to see a Prime Minister in waiting. I want to see a guy that understands the issues that Canadians are facing. We also want to see a guy that's ready to take that spot, and I think he is, and then someone that's ready to take that job.
How much of a challenge could it be for him to strike the right balance, to your point, speaking to the crowd that people here, many of whom we know, we've been speaking with delegates, but also be more prime ministerial, try and speak to Canadians who may be undecided, and he may be able to get to vote for him in the next election?
Well, look, I think the issues that you're looking around, this is a very young room. It's the youngest convention I've ever been to. The issues facing a lot of the people in this room right now, housing costs, crime, inflation, the cost of groceries, they're issues that people in this room care about, and they're also issues that the wider population, a good chunk of our population cares about, right? So I don't think he has to give two different speeches. I think he has to give a speech that will speak to people in this room, but I also think the issues he will be speaking to for a good chunk of the speech will be things that normal Canadians will care about as well.
How big is this speech for him? There's been a lot of talk leading up to this about numbers. We know that in 2005, Mr. Harper got 84% support. Is there a threshold you think he needs to meet? And how significant is this moment for your former boss?
It's a big. I don't know about a number. I think he wants to come out of this that everyone knows he's in charge. He's leading the party into the next election. So they want something comfortable. I don't know what the magic number is exactly. I think this is a big speech. It's going to be a national speech. I think this is a little opportunity to kind of reintroduce himself to Canadians. You know, people probably know there's a lot going on in the world these days, so it's hard to break through, especially for an opposition leader. It's hard to break through sometimes, but he gets kind of good, clean run here to get some media, and I think this is a good opportunity to speak again, not just to the people in this room, but to the audience, to a national audience more broadly.
Thanks for taking the time, Ben. We appreciate it. Ben Woodfin, former communications director to Pierre Poilievre. Vassy, back to you.
All right, Jeremy, thank you so much. That's our Jeremy Charron on the ground here at the Conservative Convention. We are standing by to take you live when Pierre Poilievre takes the stage to address delegates here for, we're told, about 30 minutes. There'll be some introductions for members of Parliament, as well as his wife will take the stage at some point as well. And then later on in the evening, he will face that leadership vote. I'm going to take a quick commercial break, but we've got a whole lot more special coverage right here on CTV News Channel. Back in just a moment.
Your spending changes month to month to month. So, the new CIBC Adaptive MasterCard automatically adapts month to month to month, earning you more points where you spend the most. Introducing CIBC Adapta MasterCard.
We can walk this road till our days grow old. In this life we've built together, and we just begun. The best is still yet to come.
Better health is a lifelong journey. Choose the right healthcare partner. Medcan.
The ocean supports so much life. See? It's a fish tornado. Ooh, and look at these fish. A great source of omega-3s. Just like Nutri-C Omega-3. Tested for high quality. Inspired by the power of nature.
When I was about 15 weeks pregnant with my first son, I was in a car accident where I hit a fridge driving on the 401. That really jolted me to say, okay, you know what, I'm having this baby. We need a plan to be in place. I felt really relieved to have it checked off my list and know my kids are going to be taken care of. And if something happens to me, everyone knows what I would like to happen. I'm Janine, and I'm a Willful customer.
Willful makes it easy to create a legal will online from the comfort of home without the cost or hassle of visiting a lawyer. Visit willful.co to start your will today.
My freshness? Proof that my secret aluminum-free deodorant showed up, even when my alarm didn't. It has powerful ingredients that fight odor-causing bacteria for all-day protection. Smell check? I'm good. Secret.
In Orlando, some of the best memories are made in the moments in between. And that's what makes Orlando unbelievably real.
Bright ideas, Mom's got it. Ruining a great song, Mom's got it. Energy to keep up even when she doesn't have time to eat right, Mom's got Ensure Protein Max 30 gram.
Guilty of irritating your sensitive skin? Switch to Garnier Micellar Water. Gently cleanse and perfectly remove makeup with no harsh rubbing and 24-hour hydration. From the #1 micellar water worldwide by Garnier.
Looking for the fastest online personal loan? Well, look no further. Spring Financial offers fully online personal loans with zero stress and no need for branch visits. But don't take our word for it.
Thank you. Thank you, Spring Financial.
Thank you very much. Spring Financial is the best.
Apply today at springfinancial.ca.
Oh, I'm gonna take what's mine. Haven't you heard?
Canada's best curlers are out to claim the Scotties title.
Bang, bang. Oh, my. Oh, my. Look at this. What a shot.
Scotties Tournament of Hearts on TSN.
To fix our country with concrete results.
Welcome back to special coverage of the Conservative Convention live from Calgary. You can see a beautiful shot of part of at least the Calgary skyline and the convention center here. A live look inside now where delegates are filling up the room. Not too long from now, maybe about half an hour or so, we do anticipate we'll hear from the leader of the party himself, Pierre Poilievre, who will deliver about a 30-minute address to delegates and then face, of course, a big leadership vote. We've got a ton of coverage for you both before the speech and after the speech. Right now, we are joined live here on set by Talib Noor Mohammed, a Liberal MP from Vancouver Granville. So tell me, why is a Liberal in the room for the Conservative leader's speech, Mr. Noor Mohammed?
Well, I mean, I think it's important. It's tradition, right, where we go to each other's conventions and get a sense of the room, and most importantly, be able to spend time with you and share our thoughts.
So what are your thoughts? Let me ask you in particular, do you think Mr. Poilievre will have any trouble with the leadership vote?
Absolutely not. I think he will do just fine in the leadership vote. I think that the base of the party is sort of where Mr. Poilievre appears to be, and I'm not sure that that base reflects where Canadians are. The number of people that have privately said, and including Conservative MPs that have privately said that the Prime Minister is doing a great job, that Canadians are looking for someone to unite people, that the divisive politics just aren't landing, is far more than I think people think. And yet I do think that he'll capture the vote, and I think that's going to cause a lot of people to wonder whether this party is the right party for them.
Do you think, though, you're sort of minimizing the portion of Canada that would support the message that he delivers tonight? In actuality, it's a similar message to the one we heard during the election. There's only about 400,000, just over 400,000 votes that divides your party from his. He also got more than 8 million votes. Like, those Canadians seem to support that message.
Well, I think if you look at what most Canadians want right now is they want strong leadership. They want someone that they can trust. They're looking for a leader that can bring people together. I think that's clear. If you look at the Prime Minister's personal popularity, you look at the trust that people have in him, that tells you something about what Canadians are looking for right now.
Why isn't your party then? You're absolutely right about the Prime Minister's personal numbers, but your party's numbers don't reflect that. And there's one Leger poll that has a sizable lead, but every other one, including my next guest, the wonderful Nick Nanos, I think it's a 4-point spread, which is not that big.
So, I mean, when you're talking to Nick, I would look at the regionals. I would look at the impact, the positive impact the Prime Minister is having in British Columbia, in other parts of the country. And this, at the end of the day, the type of system that we have, 3 or 4 points, 5 points is one thing. But if you look at where people are at and you look at the confidence they have in the Prime Minister and what that's going to mean at the ballot box, I think there's going to be a lot of people that at the end of the day ask themselves, who would they want as Prime Minister? Which is why, if you listen to folks here, I don't think there's a lot of appetite for an election.
Do the Liberals hope Mr. Poilievre stays? Do you think there's going to be, I know everyone keeps speculating floor crossers. Are there going to be more? Do you think that sort of engenders the possibility of that?
I think there are going to be Conservative members of Parliament if Pierre Poilievre gets over 80%, who are going to wonder whether this is the party for them. Absolutely. And look, I think for us, Mr. Poilievre reflects where Canadians aren't. Maybe there was a large group of Canadians that were there during the last election, but certainly Mr. Carney the Prime Minister showed a message to Canadians that has resonated. And I think Mr. Poilievre is still fighting the last election. We're looking at the future. We're looking at building what Canadians are actually, where Canadians are and where they want to go. And so I think that, yes, absolutely, fighting election against Mr. Poilievre, whomever it is, our message and our Prime Minister is where Canadians are going to land.
Are you sure? And I ask seriously because I would say since the election in particular, whenever I speak to Liberal MPs or people in and around the sort of the architecture of the party, they're pretty dismissive of Mr. Poilievre, much more than they would have been a year ago. Do you think you're underestimating him? I mean, there was a point not too long ago when he led your party by 27 points.
I don't underestimate Mr. Poilievre at all. In many of these close ridings, absolutely, they're working hard, and that's part of the job of the leader of the opposition. But I have ultimate confidence in Canadians, and Canadians are at their core moderate, reasonable people that don't want divisive politics. And I don't think that they see a uniter, they see somebody that brings people together in Mr. Poilievre, and I think they do see that in the Prime Minister.
The people in this room think that he is.
Well, I mean, these are conservative partisans, right? That's some of them. I mean, privately, a lot of them are saying to me, I'm not sure if you've heard this, but privately they're saying to us that they're here because they're conservatives. They're not here because they support Mr. Poilievre.
Okay, I'll leave it on that note. Mr. Mohammed, pleasure to see you.
Thank you. Good to see you.
Appreciate you making the time. Talib Noor Mohammed is a Liberal MP from the riding of Vancouver-Granville, here, as is the custom for political party conventions, with other political parties coming to observe what happens. And what is set to happen is, of course, an address from the leader of the party, Pierre Poilievre, to the delegates who have assembled here. The room is pretty packed. As I take a look at the screen there, the room just behind me, to get some more perspective on sort of where Mr. Poilievre sits with Canadians and his vision sits with Canadians. We are joined, as promised, live by Nick Nanos, the Chief Data Scientist and founder of Nanos Research. Hey, Nick, good to see you as always.
Hey, Vassy.
Okay, let's get the lay of the land. You heard Mr. Noor Mohammed talking about the Prime Minister versus Pierre Poilievre. What can you tell us about where things are at there and the parties?
Well, the thing is when we ask Canadians who they would prefer as Prime Minister, Mark Carney has a 28 percentage point advantage over Pierre Poilievre. It's like 53-25. So, the fact of the matter is that, Mark Carney is very strong when it comes on leadership. And, the thing is for Pierre Poilievre, he's trailing his party. Because think of it this way, Vassy, when we look at the ballot numbers, there's only a 4 percentage point difference between the Liberals and the Conservatives. But when you look at the comparison with the leadership, Poilievre is trailing his party and Carney is leading his party. So it speaks to the dynamic. Pierre Poilievre not only needs to do well in this leadership vote, he needs to have a reset. So Pierre Poilievre needs a reset in order to try to re-engage voters in terms of viewing him as a potential Prime Minister in waiting.
Off the top, Nick, we talked to Steve Outhouse, who is, what a bunch of other campaigns was brought in to replace the last campaign manager not too long ago. And, he certainly conceded that other aspects of Mr. Poilievre's personality are going to have to be made evident to Canadians. He mentioned, for example, a sense of humor, the note that went out over the weekend to the Prime Minister offering to work more collaboratively, the response to the Davos speech that started off with praise for the speech. Taken in the aggregate, what is your impression of that? And do you think the point that Mr. Outhouse makes, that other sides of Mr. Poilievre's personality need to be shown to Canadians, is the correct one?
Well, you know what? They used to say that Stephen Harper needed to put a sweater on in order to become Prime Minister, and he still became Prime Minister because of the numbers, Vassy. And that's all I do is look at the numbers. Stephen Harper won a series of elections because of a vote split between the New Democrats and the Liberals. Period, full stop. For Pierre Poilievre to win an election, he needs the same thing. When I look at the numbers, I don't think Pierre Poilievre has to change. He doesn't have to change what he says. He doesn't have to change what he does. But what he does need is a reinvigorated New Democrats that can split off some of those progressive voters that are currently parked with the Liberals.
And what are you seeing where the NDP is concerned? And I should point it to everyone watching. They're in the midst of their own leadership race. They're something like 6 weeks away from picking who their new leader is.
Yeah, the thing is that when we look at the numbers for the New Democrats, they're basically at around 10, 11, 12%. For the Conservatives to make that breakthrough in terms of the vote splits, they need the NDP at 18, 19, 20, 21%. And, the NDP leadership has not seemed to connect or kind of motivated voters on that front. And I think as a result, they're going to need a strong close. They're going to need someone that appeals to voters. Also, they're going to need people that kind of connect and are interested in progressive issues like the environment and stuff like that. Because what we have right now under Mark Carney is a Liberal leader that talks like a Conservative, he looks like a Conservative, and a lot of these big issues, he seems like a Conservative. It's big spending on defense, focused on the economy and jobs. And the thing is that it makes it more difficult for the Conservatives, this particular environment, but it should be ripe territory for the New Democrats who are looking to appeal and connect to progressive voters.
Let me ask you about that challenge for the Conservatives, because I think it blends nicely or bleeds nicely into expectations around the speech tonight. And I posed this question to a number of our Conservative guests. The policies that the government have adopted in numerous instances differ greatly from what you would have maybe anticipated under former Prime Minister Justin Trudeau, right? As you point out, lots of punditry out there about how they're more conservative in nature, really, and they're similar in a lot of cases to what the Conservatives are and have been proposing. What is the fertile ground for Pierre Poilievre to mine in a speech tonight that does offer a contrast between the Conservatives himself and the Prime Minister Carney and the Liberals?
I think the strength for the Conservatives and Pierre Poilievre is a focus on meat and potatoes issues like the cost of groceries, the cost of housing, the rising cost of living. They staked out that territory in advance of Justin Trudeau, and it's part of the Pierre Poilievre and Conservative brand. It's just one of those things where right now when we look at the numbers, Vassy, they're driven by two things: worry about paying for the bills and worry about Donald Trump. And on the Trump front, Mark Carney has had a significant advantage since the last federal election. He's been able to manage that. So what Pierre Poilievre has to do is to stick to his message on the cost of living, but he needs to show what his vision and approach would be for managing the binational relationship with the United States. He doesn't have to beat Mark Carney on that, but he has to be more competitive. And he hasn't really waded into that space very much.
Okay, I'll leave it on that note. Nick, really appreciate the analysis and the insights as always. Thank you. Thanks a lot. Nick Nanos is the Chief Data Scientist and founder of Nanos Research. We're going to continue our coverage here live from Calgary of the Conservatives Convention. We're standing by for the leader of the party, Pierre Poilievre, to address delegates. A quick commercial break. We're back in just a moment.
I'm here with Susan, a retired paramedic and a home equity bank customer. Now, as a paramedic, you've spent your life helping others.
I'm proud of that. And Home Equity Bank's income solution is something I did for me.
So how do you feel now?
To be honest, I couldn't be happier. This was just right for my needs. I get to stay in my house, supplement my pension, and do some of the things that I haven't been able to do.
Like what?
Traveling, renovating the kitchen, building up a baking business.
Baking? You have a baking business?
If you're 55 or older, you can supplement your income in tax-free cash without having to sell, with no monthly mortgage payments required. Call 1-866-787-2447 or visit chip.ca for your free no-obligation information guide.
Now, I'm told you're a pretty incredible baker.
Well, let's see what you think.
Thought you'd never ask. This is gonna be good.
Call 1-866-787-2447 or visit chip.ca. Home Equity Bank.
The Brick's rolling out the red carpet, and you're invited. Get VIP access to exclusive 4-day offers, up to 40% off select mattresses, and receive a 5% instant credit towards sleep accessories. The Brick and the Brick Mattress Store. The right mattress guaranteed.
Bleeding gums are a sign of bacterial infection. We always recommend Crest Gum toothpaste to our patients. Its unique antibacterial fluoride works below the gum line to reduce bleeding to strengthen gums. Thanks, Crest.
Men, are you urinating more often? Reduce the symptoms of BPH with Super Beta Prostate. It's proven to help you reduce the extra bathroom trips, reduce getting up at night to urinate, and take back control. Get Super Beta Prostate.
Fanuary is here for fans like you and me. Fans who play blackjack, roulette, and spin sevens of 3. Celebrate Fanuary, a new month-long celebration. Only on FanDuel.
It's iconic. It's revolutionary. It's bread. Bread Pro by Dempster's. 14G of protein. Redesigned from crust to crumb. Bread Pro for protein. The best invention since sliced bread.
At Wayfair, we bring style to every get-together. We brought wings.
You mean these wingback chairs? Dive in, everyone. We brought plenty.
We brought the ranch.
Woo! Wings and ranch? Now it's a party.
Wayfair, every style, every home.
Welcome back to Calgary. I'm Vassy Kapelos coming to you live from Calgary, Alberta, where the Conservatives are gathering in this room right behind me for their annual convention, standing by to hear from the leader of the party, Pierre Poilievre, who is set to deliver a 30-minute address very soon. He will then face a leadership vote. In the hours that follow, members of the party will cast a ballot expressing either a yes or no vote about whether they want to keep him on as leader of the party. A lot for us to discuss with a special panel that we have assembled for the event. Sebastian Skamsky sits next to me. He's former director of media relations to Conservative leader Pierre Poilievre. Next to him, that's Sharon Carr. She's a CTV News political analyst and former deputy chief of staff to former finance minister Bill Morneau. And Kim Wright, there next to Sharon, is a longtime NDP strategist and founder and principal of Right Strategies. Hi, everybody.
Hello.
Good to see you back here. A little bit of a process getting in here. I wanted to start off, actually, we interviewed Steve Outhouse, the campaign director for the Conservative Party, who contends there will be an election before the summer, that he has very little doubt that there will not be, given the circumstances that exist right now. If that is the case, what does that, what sort of does that inform about the stakes tonight for Mr. Poilievre, Sebastian?
For sure. Maybe I'll start off to say that Steve Outhouse is great in being prepared for an election. And I'll point out, of course, much to Sharon's disappointment, that the Conservative fundraising numbers were far and away much bigger than the Liberals. So I think if Steve is in that position where we're preparing for an election, I'm content that's our preparedness is there. In terms of what it means for tonight, I think Mr. Poilievre is going to deliver a message directly to Canadians, to speak kind of beyond the machinations that we get stuck in Ottawa and the Ottawa bubble, and speak to them about the hope and unity that we need in this country, because that is falling apart rapidly under Prime Minister Carney. So it'll be a big and consequential speech.
Let's talk a little bit about sort of the overarching message that you're anticipating, Sharon. And I had spoken just a few moments ago with a Liberal MP who's here to observe, who was very, characterizing essentially what he expected as a message of divisiveness, of right? Like you've said, of negativity. And they're kind of banking. You guys are kind of banking on that being the case, and that there's not a whole lot of resonance with that message outside of the Conservative base. Do you think that's true, given like how close the election ultimately was?
Absolutely. And listen, the idea of hope and unity is great, but there's nothing about Pierre Poilievre that has said hope and unity to people. He's been divisive. He's been angry. He has definitely fundraised a lot, which is great. I think that's commendable. He has been able to bring a new base in, but the base that he has brought in is he's brought them in with fear, divisiveness. So, you know, maybe he'll surprise us, and the speech tonight will be more statesmanlike, but he hasn't shown that too much yet, and I think he tends to fall back on what he's used to, which is the anger.
Two things about the fundraising numbers. First, money isn't everything, as Conservatives have proven over a lot of elections. They did beat, I think it's like a $20 million advantage last year over the Liberals. But if you are raising that much money, is it maybe also a reflection that there are a lot of people with whom that message does resonate? That though, you know, Sharon may call it divisive, others may say, no, that's actually how I feel.
Yeah, there's a lot of money you can raise off of red meat policies. I mean, every time the Conservatives put a shut down the CBC, they're going to raise millions and millions of dollars. That red meat to the base makes them bank, and there's no question they know how to do that. But what does that do in a general sense? There is that question that people had in the general election. Who is this guy? Do we want him leading a G7 nation? What does that start to look like? And that becomes a challenge. I mean, when we were waiting for this speech to start, they were playing in the background the ballad of the Edmund Fitzgerald, and if listeners and watchers know that, it's about the sinking of a ship. I'm not sure that's quite the message they want to lead into, going to vote for me, but, you know, bless a CanCon. I appreciate it.
They also played Bryan Adams earlier, which I was very excited about.
I also appreciated they followed it up with ironic, and it's ironic they're using signs that are the same signs that Justin Trudeau used on the podium, the For Real Change. Look, I'm excited. There's a lot of change coming. The New Democrats are going to have a new leader come the end of March. That's going to be a fascinating situation. We'll talk more about that.
Yeah, for sure, because actually the NDP is a big part of this conversation and a prospective election and the chances of the Conservatives relative to the Liberals. Let's talk a little bit about the leadership vote as well tonight, Sebastian. You're obviously a member of the party. You're talking to people here tonight. Do you have any... Oh, sorry. I'm going to interrupt myself because this came a lot faster. Let's throw over to the stage. You are watching Pierre Poilievre here making his way to the stage. He was introduced by his wife there, Anita Poilievre. I believe she called him the future prime minister, which she has done on multiple occasions when she introduced him. Here he is shaking hands with various delegates who have shown up. I know that individual. His name's Matt McDonald. Lots of Pierre Poilievre supporters here at the front of the room. The room is packed. Certainly to the brim. We are anticipating Mr. Poilievre's speech will last about a half hour, we are told. We're going to be with you throughout that speech and, of course, have analysis after. And then after that is the other big event that Mr. Poilievre faces tonight, the leadership vote. Members here who have assembled in this room, in this building more largely, will have about 2 hours tonight to cast their ballots, paper ballots. They will then be counted. And sometime thereafter, possibly as late as early in the morning, we will get a result. Sebastian, I cut you off there, but as we watch Mr. Poilievre come up, What kind of results are you anticipating to that vote tonight?
I was just going to say, look at this energy. Over 3,000 people in the room cheering. I think we're going to get, Mr. Poilievre is going to get a strong, solid, resounding result in support of his leadership. I think we can feel it with the enthusiasm here.
Sharon?
There's definitely energy in here, but what it's going to look like, we've been talking to a lot of people on the ground as well, some who aren't happy, so let's see what that turns into a vote.
And there's Pierre Poilievre with his wife and one of his 2 kids. We're just waiting for him to take the stage, and we're going to listen in live to his speech now.
Merci beaucoup. Merci beaucoup tout le monde. Merci beaucoup tout le monde. Merci Anna, l'amour de ma vie, the mother of my 2 beautiful children, Valentina and Cruz. And most of all, thank you to the great grassroots conservatives who work and unite here today. And welcome to my hometown of Calgary. Conservatives from all over the country. Who's excited to be in Calgary in January? We're tough, we can take it. A little bit of regional advice for our Atlantic friends. Try the steak, not the seafood. For those of you from the Eastern Prairies, sorry to block your view with the mountains. To our friends in Toronto, enjoy your time outside of the center of the universe. I love seeing so many conservatives in one place, but it must freak the Liberals out enough to invoke the Emergencies Act. But truly, it's great to be home in the beating heart of the West, a land filled with treasure, a land of oil and honey. The place that taught me my great values, opportunity as big as the sky, where a handshake and a word is a man's bond, and where a hard day's work is its own sermon. My parents taught me the value of $1 here in Calgary. My mother could sure stretch one. She's here over there. And she could stretch $1, that's for sure. My mother was one of those people who would literally drive clear across town to use one of those coupons to save half price on breakfast. And my dad would have me up at 5 in the morning to deliver newspapers. We weren't rich, but life was good. That was the deal. Work hard, start anywhere, get anywhere. That's what the country promised us all. A hopeful life, a safe home, a full table, a family you love, a flag that united. That's the country that we love. We call it the Canadian Promise, the deal. The professors might call it the social contract. The people have kept their part of that bargain, working hard, spending less, following the rules. But unfortunately, the government has not kept its part of the bargain. Right now, as we gather, families are struggling to do the math. Young people are wondering if they'll ever have a job or a home. Worried parents are sitting at kitchen tables with empty fridges and empty bank accounts. And seniors worry that their savings might not last as long as their days. This Liberal government doesn't just leave people behind, it prices and shuts out youth from homes, workers from jobs, and families from groceries. Simply put, Canadians cannot afford life under the Liberal government. The government is literally the biggest item in a family budget today. It takes up more money than food, clothing, and shelter combined. The cost of government is driving up the cost of living. Taxes and record money-printing deficits are inflating everything. And it's no coincidence, therefore, that as the Liberal government doubled the debt, housing costs and food bank lineups doubled at the very same time. Now, they promised that all these deficits were going to lead to investments. You know, it's kind of like the old magicians who said that they could turn lead into gold. But those deficits never became investments. In fact, Canada has had the worst investment and the worst growth in the G7 over the last 10 years. Amazingly, Canadian citizens, this is an incredible fact, Canadian citizens now open more businesses in the United States of America than they do in their home country. That's elbows out. And taxpayers spend more on federal debt interest than on health care. That's more money for bondholders and bankers than for nurses and doctors. Liberal laws have unleashed crime. Out of control, open borders, immigration has overwhelmed health care, housing, and job markets. Cancel culture and identity politics divide Canadians. Separatist movements are reawakened. After 10 years of Liberal rule, Canada is more costly and crime-ridden, dangerous and dependent and divided than ever before. Now, Mr. Carney, he promised to change all that. But here we are a year later. You know, what's changed? Sure, the words have changed, the style has changed, but what's changed in your life, really? Well, let's go down the list. The illusion, Mr. Carney said he would spend less. He's spending $90 billion more, and he doubled the deficit that he inherited. The illusion, Mr. Carney said, a country that cannot feed itself has few options. Well, food inflation has doubled under his watch, and it's the worst in the G7. Groceries will cost the average family an almost unimaginable $17,600 this year. That's after-tax money. The illusion, build, baby, build. The reality has been block, baby, block. He hasn't got rid of a single anti-development law or bureaucracy. The No New Pipelines law, still here. And by the way, speaking of pipelines, how many of them are approved? Zero. Il y a 10 ans, avant l'arrivée des libéraux, le contrat social, le deal, c'était qu'en travaillant fort, on pouvait gagner un bon vie, un bon salaire pour s'acheter une belle maison et fonder une famille. Mais aujourd'hui, vivre au Canada coûte plus cher et M. Carney a promis qu'il serait jugé par l'épicerie. Le résultat, le Canada a la pire inflation alimentaire parmi le G7 et la famille moyenne va devoir dépenser presque 18 000 $ pour se nourrir cette année. M. Carney a doublé le déficit qu'il a hérité pendant que vos taxes et vos impôts continuent d'augmenter. Les jeunes ne peuvent plus acheter une maison. Avec les libéraux, le Canada est devenu une nation de locataires, pas une nation de propriétaires. M. Carney a promis du changement, mais bien sûr, il a changé le ton, le style, les mots. Mais depuis qu'il est devenu Premier ministre, est-ce que les choses ont vraiment changé dans votre vie? Est-ce que ça coûte moins cher? Je sais que M. Carney aime bien faire des grands discours autour du monde lorsqu'il force les Canadiens à payer plus ici. C'est clair. M. Carney, c'est un grand parleur ailleurs, mais un petit faiseur chez nous. So I got a funny paradox for you. I got a bit of a funny paradox for you. He imposes taxes and red tape on home building, resource development, and businesses. Then he creates new bureaucracies to subsidize home building, resource development, and businesses. He taxes food production, and then he creates new programs for food subsidies. In every case, he blocks and taxes a thing, and then subsidizes that same thing. As President Reagan says, if a liberal sees something that moves, he taxes it. If it keeps moving, he regulates it. And when it stops moving, he subsidizes it. But why not just get out of the way and let things move? Well, because then there'd be no role for him. No photo op, no power. If everyone could just get up and do great things without him, he would be less relevant. The government would be less important. This way, you have to give him your money and then come ask for some of it back. And he can claim that he's building the thing that he's blocking. The cost of the benefit is seen in the form of his photo ops and political power, but the cost is paid by the homeowner who can't build a home, the carpenter who never gets a job building it, and the family that never gets to move in, or the entrepreneur who never launches the business, or the senior who, because of all these extra costs, has to choose between eating and heating. These costs are so often unseen, and even more often, so too are the people paying them. But my message to those people who have felt unseen for too long, who are carrying the country on their back and feel underappreciated and overworked, conservatives see you, and conservatives will fight for you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. The people need the government off their backs, out of their way, and by their sides. And when I become Prime Minister, these great Canadians will not need to ask my permission to succeed. Business will get ahead by having the best product, not the best lobbyist, by pleasing customers, not pleasing politicians. I love you too. Thank you. We have the most amazing patriots, the most amazing people in this party. Thank God for the grassroots of the Conservative Party. And the great people of our country are, as I go around and I meet the people of this country, and I spend half my time doing that and half my time on Parliament Hill, it's become very clear to me that the common people, not the ordinary people, the extraordinary people, they have all the wisdom and the virtue to make their own decisions and run their own lives. They don't need to be bossed around by government. Our government is here to do its job. Only the things that people can't do for themselves, not run your life. In fact, if I were starting a new political party from scratch, I'm not. But if I were, it would be called the Mind Your Own Damn Business Party. It would be. That includes respecting the constitutional jurisdiction of our provinces and getting the federal government to butt out of the affairs of Albertans and Quebecers and other Canadians, to make room, have a smaller government that makes room for the dignity of work and the soft, strong bonds of family. It was by fighting for these principles. Thank you. It was by fighting for these principles and giving hope to the common people that we won the most votes in our party's history, 2.5 million more votes and 25 more seats. Often we won these votes in places that had never voted Conservative before. And now it is clear, Conservatives are the party of workers, including union workers, small business owners, and young people. Have you seen the youth delegation at this convention? It is amazing. In the past, when I was growing up, we would go to a Conservative convention and you'd look out at the crowd and it would be the Great White North, white hair everywhere. And we love the people with white hair, the wisdom that they share with all of us, but we also need a party that's infused with young people. And on that front, we are the youngest party and the oldest party. In fact, Elections Canada holds a mock vote in the high schools on Election Day, and this year, Conservatives won. We came in first. So congratulations, parents. The kids are all right. Now, and you know, every year, 1/3 of those high school kids, roughly, becomes eligible to vote for real. So we got to make sure we get them out to vote by continuing to inspire them every day and in every way. And that means now, obviously, elections teach us lessons, like, for example, the need to hold earlier and open nominations, to have more local autonomy, to empower our local riding associations, who are the backbone of our organization. And for that, I want to thank all of you in this room who have provided such valuable input in the lead up to and throughout this convention. You are the ones whose ears and whose feet are on the ground and have the best intelligence to bring us. And you have told us many things, but one of the most important lessons I have gained from listening to you throughout this convention is that you told us to ignore the voices who keep telling us to abandon our conservative principles. We will remain true to our principles. Absolutely. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much. You know, on the issue of the principles that we hold, we won the debate in the last election on every single one of the big issues. On carbon taxes, inflation, housing, resources, crime, drugs, and soon we will be proven right once again on the wasteful and insane liberal gun grab. It's funny to watch the liberal rhetoric. First, they said conservatives have no policies. It's just slogans. Then they said conservative policies are very scary. And then they said, we agree with all the conservative policies. The best part of being conservatives is that eventually everyone admits that we were right all along. And you know, it's not just the solutions for the past, it's the solutions for the future that we offer the Canadian people that brings so much hope. Policies like an affordable government for an affordable life. You see, stronger take-home pay requires lower taxes. A strong dollar that buys more requires we end inflationary deficits. Both require we cut spending on bureaucracy, consultants, corporate welfare, foreign aid, and handouts to phony refugees. Speaking of affordability, everything should be dirt cheap in Canada because we have the most dirt in which to build homes, grow food, and dig resources, right? Think about it. The treasures in our soil, mixed with the hands of our genius engineers and trades workers, can and will supply an abundant, affordable, autonomous future to our country. And now more than ever, we need autonomy and independence. Unfair and unresolved U.S. tariffs and diplomatic distractions and disruptions from down south and from other places show that we cannot rely on others to secure our borders or buy our goods. Conservatives renew our good faith offer to help the Prime Minister and his government get U.S. tariffs removed and open new markets abroad We will work with the government in any way we can because Conservatives always put our country ahead of our party. In this dangerous and uncertain world, Canadians must stand united so we can stand on our own 2 feet. United and strong, Canadians will bow before no nation anywhere on earth. Canada must make new friends, honor our alliances, and do our part. On resources, trade, diplomacy, foreign aid, and everything else, though, it's clear we must prioritize our own national interest above all else. And here's the good news. The good news is that the same Conservative policies that will make life affordable will make Canada more self-reliant. We will do it by starting with the Canadian Sovereignty Act. This is a law that will put us back in charge of our lives. It'll bring home the $500 billion of investment that has fled south by ending capital gains tax on reinvestment in Canada. That'll be like economic rocket fuel for startups, high tech, and major job-creating projects. We'll replace anti-development laws like C-69 and C-48 with new laws that will quickly approve projects and allow energy shipping off our west coast. We will also quickly greenlight Danielle Smith's proposed pipeline to the Pacific. Let me just put this into context. That pipeline would move 1 million barrels a day and $30 billion a year. That would be the single biggest increase to overseas exports in Canadian history. And for context, the Liberals now say that they want this strategic partnership with China for a new world order. One pipeline to the Pacific would increase our exports more than all the products that we currently sell to China in a year. So I think that is a more accurate and pragmatic approach to diversifying our trade. We will end the industrial carbon tax so that we can produce more steel, aluminum, and other things that it takes to grow food and build homes. And speaking of that, you want to launch or relaunch the biggest tariff-proof industry in Canada? You know what it is? Home building. No other country can tariff home building because it's built on Canadian homes, on Canadian land, with Canadian workers using Canadian lumber. It is literally the most homegrown industry we have. So why don't we dedicate ourselves to working with all levels of government to remove all the taxes and all the red tape so that we can create jobs, harvest more lumber, and build homes that our young people can afford. We'll create free trade bonuses for our provinces to open up markets to the rest of Canada. We'll bring incentives and rules to ensure that we keep our Canadian technologies in Canadian hands on Canadian soil. We'll move from the second slowest building permits in the developed world to the fastest building permits anywhere in the developed world. You know, people ask, it seems so complicated. How is it that we get things built? There's actually a very simple checklist that you need to build resource projects. 1, you need the resources. Check. 2, you need the workers. Check. We've got 100,000 unemployed construction workers available to start any day. 3rd, you need the investment. Check. We've got massive pension funds that are literally investing hundreds of billions of our savings in other countries where they can get things built. So the 4th thing is the only thing missing. It's the federal government permits. They are among the slowest in the world. We need to checkmark this box so that we can get the federal government out of the way, get the permits so we can get shovels in ground, and that's what we will do. Self-reliance requires self-defense. We must be a nation that protects our seas, skies, and soil without depending on the U.S. or anyone else to do it for us. And that's what our Conservatives believe. It's time to cut the back office bureaucracy and the botched purchases so that massive increases in defense spending actually hit the front line and support our soldiers, sailors, aircrew, and veterans. We will reassert Arctic sovereignty in this great conservative tradition of Harper and Diefenbaker. We will take back control of our north and ensure no foreign powers ever threaten our territory. New bases in Iqaluit. You know, we have no bases in the north right now, in the Arctic north today. We haven't had any since the Cold War. We will open new bases in Iqaluit, Churchill, and Nunavik. 4 rather than 2 new icebreakers will break open that ice and open up new passageways for Canadians. We will speed up the purchases of new tactical submarines. I think my little girl wants to be a submarine sailor. She's very excited by that idea. So I think she's tired of hearing Daddy's speech, though, so we lost her. We will speed up purchases of new submarines, tactical helicopters, satellite ground stations, over-the-top radar, and we will quickly add an arsenal of drones that will cover more territory at lower costs and less risk to Canadian life so that we are ready for the future of warfare. And we will expand recruitment and also performance by promoting and hiring based on merit and not political correctness. Our forces will be guided by a warrior culture, and our government will be dedicated to its first responsibility, which is to take care of our precious veterans. They fought for us, and we will always fight for them.
On doit diversifier nos marchés et renforcer nos alliances avec nos partenaires de l'OTAN.
Change
On doit
our
combattre les tarifs américains et faire
with the
ce qu'on
NATO.
peut pour avoir
Do what we can
sans tarif avec les États-Unis.
and take
Et oui,
the tariffs
les
out from
conservateurs sont prêts à travailler avec M. Carney et son
are
gouvernement
ready
pour
to
trouver des
work
nouveaux
with
marchés
Mr. Carney
et pour
and
éliminer
to
les
find new
tarifs
markets
américains.
and eliminate
On ne
U.S.
peut plus
tariffs.
dépendre
But we
les
cannot
autres.
depend any longer
C'est pour
on
ça
one
que je propose la loi sur la
on
souveraineté
each other.
qui va
That's
nous
why
permettre
sovereignty
d'exploiter
will
nos ressources naturelles,
help to
de ramener
exploit
la
our
production
ici au Canada
and
avec des emplois
increase
payants et un dollar,
production in Canada
un
with
pouvoir
increasing
d'achat plus fort
salaries
pour
with
qu'on
a
puisse
better
être vraiment, véritablement et finalement
and so that we can
maître chez
be
nous. Thank you.
our own master.
And we need to unite this country like never before, because a house divided cannot stand. You know, here we go again. Liberals are in power, and just as night follows day, separatist movements are in resurgence back in Quebec and here in Alberta. These movements, which had been dormant or even dead when Prime Minister Harper left office. Now, we can simply attack people who feel this way, or we can ask them why. Why in Alberta and Quebec? Why, particularly among young people in those provinces, have so many lost hope in Confederation? Well, here's a few hints. For the last 10 years, Ottawa has told our young people that our history is filled with shame and horror, that we are a post-national country with no core identity, and that our youth will never own homes. But other than that, they should feel great about being united in Canada. All the while, the federal government stomps on Alberta's energy sector and Quebec's jurisdiction. Now, our message to those youth and to all of the people in Alberta and Quebec who are losing hope in our country: you will again have a country that respects your autonomy, is proud of your industries, unites us around our common identity and history, a country that will afford you the hopeful future that you have earned. You know, it's incredible that when there's never been a referendum crisis or a national unity crisis when Conservatives have been in power. It's an interesting coincidence, isn't it? Quand les libéraux sont au pouvoir, par contre, ça profite toujours aux souverainistes qui avaient disparu pendant les années Harper. Quand les conservateurs sont au pouvoir, l'autonomie du Québec est respectée.
Autonomy of Quebec is respected, and Alberta's contribution recognized, acknowledged, and our country is proud, affordable, and full of hope. The problem is that 10 years, Liberals said, if in two things, young people from Quebec Canada is a post-national with a terrible history, and young people, you will never have a house. So we say to our young people, you don't have identity and house, but let's be proud to be Canadian. Why? And so the hope is, I have a message for young people in Quebec, nationalism from Quebec, Canadian patriotism. Canada will be proud of its identity and its history.
Vous allez redevenir fiers de notre pays, et le Canada va vous permettre de réaliser vos ambitions, vos rêves et votre avenir au sein de Canada
your
uni.
dreams, your ambitions within a united Canada.
Merci. And we will celebrate. We will celebrate rather than tear down our heroes in history. Our museums and heritage programs will tell the unvarnished truth that Conservatives have known all along. This is the greatest country on earth precisely because of the goodness of those people who came here and sacrificed before us. As the great Nova Scotian Joseph Howe said, a wise nation preserves its records, gathers up its monuments, decorates the tombs of its illustrious dead, repairs its great public structures, and fosters national pride and love of country by perpetual reference to the sacrifices and glories of the past. Uniting around our common history will heal the divisions. We want a nation where all of us are equal, a nation that is colorblind. We want a nation with no more hyphens, no more group labels. We are all Canadians, Canadians in our heart, Canadians in every single way. And immigration must serve our national interest as well. We will welcome those who contribute, and we'll make sure that their skills are recognized so that they can get licensed to work as doctors and nurses in our country and reduce wait times in our hospitals. At the same time, we must cap immigration at numbers we can integrate into our jobs housing, health care, and Canadian way of life. We will deport criminals, end fraud, end abuse and handouts to phony refugees. We will no longer allow foreign conflicts to spill onto our streets. We must unite to end anti-Semitism and the attacks on their places of worship. And stand with our Jewish friends and neighbors who are under attack like never before. We want Jews to feel comfortable and safe. They should be able to wear the Star of David, put up the mezuzah, and wear a kippah everywhere and be proudly Jewish all around. That's the story of Canada, isn't it? It's incredible. Protestants and Catholics teared each other's eyeballs out for hundreds of years on the other side of the pond, and they came here and got along. Yes, we squabble. Yes, we get on each other's nerves, but we don't fight each other because of religious or sectoral differences. We get along with our next-door neighbors regardless of where their grandparents live. When newcomers arrive in this country, just as it has always been, we will ensure that they leave differences at the doors. Et on va laisser les problèmes d'ailleurs à la porte. We must restore security at home. Crime has gotten so bad in this country that in Toronto, the police tell people to leave their keys at the door so that thieves can more safely steal their car in the middle of the night. In Brampton, people are literally being told that because there is an extortion wave on their particular street, they should move into their basements to minimize the chance of being hit by a stray bullet. In Canada, you're right. It's not just stats, it's human tragedies. In 2024, a violent repeat offender, released by liberal laws, murdered a wonderful piano teacher, Esty Jones. The killer should have been in jail, and Esty should still be alive today. Her niece, Esther, is here with us today. Esther, where is she? She decided to turn this terrible strategy into action, this terrible tragedy into real change. She joined our party and testified in a parliamentary committee against catch and release liberal laws. And together with her, together with you, Esther, we will work to pass laws requiring that anyone convicted of 3 serious offenses will have a minimum of 10 years in prison with no jail, parole, probation, or house arrest. The tiny group of criminals, the career criminals, will stay behind bars so that no one ever faces a tragedy like Esther's family. And I can tell you, Esther, that your wonderful aunt will have an incredible legacy because her story will inspire us to take the action that will save so many other lives. Thank you, and God bless your beautiful family. We will also protect the freedoms of law-abiding people with a new Castle law that allows you to take whatever action necessary to protect your family against home invaders. We will do so also by protecting the rights of law-abiding firearms owners, stopping the liberal gun grab, and putting the money into border security. By definition, if you've got a possession or an acquisition license, if you're following the law, if you would even respect this confiscation policy, you're by definition not the risk. You're not a danger, and we shouldn't be wasting police resources harassing you. The Liberals want to protect turkeys from hunters. We want to protect Canadians from criminals. And we will protect your religious freedom. We will stop the Liberals from censoring politically incorrect Bible verses. You will have the ability to worship God in your own way. And we'll protect our loved ones from addictions. Overdoses have cost 50,000 lives and overrun our streets. We'll bring in life sentences for fentanyl kingpins, shut down the drug dens, and treat drug abuse, because 50,000 dead is too many. Let me tell you. After years of intense struggle with drugs, Kirk was determined to take his life. While driving on the Sea to Sky Highway, he took off his seatbelt and he drove full speed into a rock wall. But God was not finished with him yet. Kirk survived. And he later said, at that moment, I decided I was going to change my life. Kirk entered recovery, counseling, group therapy, exercise, and yes, faith. It was hard, but it saved his life. And he has since become a chef at the Saint Treatment Center. He makes a mean steak, which he's promised to let me try. He's also the CEO of Probiotic Sodas and has 6 employees. He will soon be marrying his beautiful fiancée, and both of them are here with us tonight. Give them a big round of applause. Way to go, buddy. Way to go, man. We love you. You know, when I go to these treatment facilities, I love to go and meet with mostly the young men who are in those places, turning their lives around. And I walk in and I say, I'm not here because you need me. I'm here because, frankly, I'm here because I need you. Canada has a job for you to do. You need to get better and go out and pull the next guy off the street. And he's going to come in and get better, and he'll go back out and pull the next guy off the street. And we're going to keep doing that again and again till every last one of our brothers and sisters is back on their feet. So hang on, have hope. Help is on the way. Hope. That's really the theme of this convention and this evening. Hope is on the way for our people as well. But hope is not just a comforting blanket. Hope is the knowledge that your work will fulfill your purpose, your why. He who has a why can bear any how, Viktor Frankl wrote in the great book, Man's Search for Meaning. That thing that you call meaning could be for you a home, a career, a family, a business. Seeing your autistic daughter speak for the first time is the thing. It's the thing. That meaning is the thing that keeps people fighting on through hardship. People ask me, why? I keep going. You know, the slings and arrows, they're the easy part. Constantly being away from family, that's the harder part. You know, my little boy, Cruz, he cut out and colored a little paper Spider-Man and gave it for me to take on the road to stop bad guys. I look at it when I'm in the hotel room, sometimes late at night. It makes me smile. I see all those little scribbles and cut marks and imagine those little figures working away. And I know that one day I'll come home and those fingers will have grown big. And I miss him. And too often, I kiss my wife and daughter goodnight through FaceTime. So why keep going? Because we want our kids to have the same promise that we had. Because we want them to know that when you care about something, you work for it. When you believe in something, you fight for it. And most of all, when you start something, you never give up. Because the unsung heroes who built and protect this country, who have it infinitely harder than I do, they never give up. So I have no right to give up. Because all of you who pound signs on frozen ground, knock doors on dark nights, and sacrifice warm family dinners for cold campaign pizza, you never give up, so I'll never give up. Because the young couple scrimping to start a family, and the single mother fighting each day to feed her kids, they never give up, so that we never give up. Because the Canadian Pacific Railway workers who pounded spikes into frozen ground and forged steel ribbon that united East and West, they never gave up, so we never gave up. Because the Canadian teenagers living in frozen, rat-infested trenches who had it infinitely harder than we do, they fought on, they never gave up, and they won wars so that we will never give up on our country in these times. Comme Canadien. Comme Canadien, on ne lâche pas. Parce que ça vaut la peine de se battre pour notre pays, son peuple et sa promesse. Because we are Canadians, only Canadians, could carve the world's best country out of a big, cold, vast land, because we never give up, we never back down, we never run away, we stand united, tonight, together, always, because this country, its people, and promise are worth fighting for, because while some say this is as good as it gets, we know the best is yet to come. Thank you very much.
Conservative Party, Pierre Poilievre, standing alongside his wife after spending the better part of about 40 minutes addressing delegates, thousands of whom have assembled here in Calgary. We just have a few minutes before the national news comes on to do some analysis. Sebastian Scansey, Sharon Carr, and Kim Wright. Sebastian, your quick read on what you just heard.
A very rallying, patriotic message of unity, of hope. I think he's reminded Canadians that he's a fighter for them, and it's really resonated wonderfully with the room, and I'm sure with Canadians across the country.
Sharon? I gotta say, that wasn't a speech, it was a series of talking points. We've heard this before from him, we're gonna hear it again. There's a lot of people in the room, but the energy is more heavy than it feels rallying.
Yeah, I was watching the crowd, and while the cheerleaders on stage and maybe in the front row were standing up and applauding, most of this room was not, and that was telling. There wasn't a lot of meat to this, there wasn't a lot of substance, and other than, boy, the man needs to read some books on history, this was not a rallying cry by any stretch.
I know you'll probably disagree with that.
I will.
I'll let you do that, and then I found it very similar to what we heard during the election.
Sure. I mean, this is the base of our conservative message, but I think he's really struck a very good tone. This, to me, sounded like a prime minister in waiting, both in the visuals and the speech he delivered, and the optimism. And I think he shared a lot of emotional moments as well that are resonating with people who have wrongly criticized him for kind of lacking that in the past.
Yeah, definitely more humor, more sort of like moments that were more serious, like more variation than the election. I think that's accurate.
Yeah, he definitely had that. It did feel a little bit forced in some ways, but it's a great way for him to try to be more personable.
Yeah, the story of his son giving him the Spider-Man picture, great. But there was a lot in there that, to me, felt very forced, like the throwaway, like a throwaway line to delegates. But I was looking for a lot more of why I should stay, not just because somebody's got to do it. There were a lot of moments in there that felt, as a couple of folks have messaged me, a little cringy.
Okay, well, we're going to have lots more analysis throughout the night. Thanks, everyone. Sebastian Skamsky, Sharon Carr, and Kim Wright. As I did mention, we do have a lot more analysis coming to you throughout the whole evening because this doesn't end now. Pierre Poilievre will also face a leadership vote. Members are heading out of this room soon to cast their ballot. Those results could come overnight. I'm going to hand it over to CTV now.
Tonight, a pivotal moment for the Conservative Party and Pierre Poilievre in his leadership role. His pitch to party faithful.
Conservatives are the party of workers, including union workers, small business owners, and young people.
Where they're heading next. Millions of new Epstein files released, his connection to Canada, and the alleged FBI interviews mentioning Donald Trump. Plus, remembering the life and legacy of Catherine O'Hara.
My bag! It's gone!
She created characters that were rewatchable and memorable.
How the world is paying tribute to the comedy legend and Canadian icon.
What else could we be forgetting?
Kevin!
CTV National News with Heather Butts.
Good evening. Thousands of party faithful have